But in writing the book, was it an easy thought process for you to go from one chapter to the other?
Ooh, no. So it came about because I just started writing. And later on, I was able to organize my thoughts and move them into chapters. But it was pretty much just like, I knew it was some key points that I wanted to share with people. And then I thought about the situations in my life that I could share a story with to help you recognize those things. So for everybody who hasn't had a chance to read the book yet, it's set up where you get a secret or a tip, and then I give you a short story about it, and then I tell you how to make it applicable to your life or how to recognize it in your everyday experience. And so basically, I just jotted down like a long list of things where I said, this is something I know, keeps me level. This is something I know brings me joy. This is something I know that I probably should think more about. I don't really, because it seems so, meaningless or, minimal, but in the grand scheme of things, it's bigger than it really is. And so I just made a big list, so much so that I had to cut about 12 of those things out before the book went to publication. And so in doing that, and I kind of did that at the last minute, and so it didn't come out perfect, and I actually kind of found a couple of issues, in grammatical expressions after the fact, because hindsight is 20/20. But I pretty much just thought about little things. I kept a list, and I started developing that list.
Okay. In the chapter Segue to Life, you talk about the happy experiment. How did that process with your family impact your thought process in writing this book?
Process with my family. Well, I think first of all, we kind of are products of our family. And so a lot of things that happen in your family, you kind of espouse unknowingly. And so, of course, as a child, you don't have a choice, because if mama said do it, grandma said do it, you're gonna do it. But as you get older, I started to realize that there are things that I did that I needed to recognize why I'm doing it. And then after I recognize why I'm doing it, I'm saying, okay, now I have a choice now that I can do it or I cannot do it. Do I want to continue to do it? Is it bringing me any enjoyment? Is it really good for me? Does it help? Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, is it helping? And so it makes me think about all the things that come full circle in your life. And I used to say growing up, oh no, I'm not going to be my mother. Okay, well, I won't say nothing. I used to say, oh, I'm not going to be like my mother. I am 1,000% my mother. Okay. I'm a combination of my mother and my father, but I'm 1,000% my mother. Sometimes the things that come out of my mouth, I'm like, who said that? I don't even think that was me. I just was channeling her. So I think it's because of the things that we grow up in, the environment that we, espouse to certain things. And of course, there are so many things that we gain that are valuable to us, like learning to love, learning to worship, learning to realize that there's something bigger than us, that we should, all the things that I feel like got me through a lot of the experiences I had that I share in the book, and then I tell you how to get through on your own. So that the family plays a huge impact on everything. Your foundation is the beginning of you.
Okay. In the chapter, Notice Little Things, you actually talk about when one of your coworkers, Albert Cortez, complimented you on some leaf earrings that you were wearing.
Yep, I got one today.
Yes, when we don't get, I thought about that.
They're my favorites.
She said that it reminded her of a familiar passage from the Quran. Not one leaf falls from the tree without the permission of Allah. You said that was an eye-opening moment for you. Why was that?
So I'm always a person that's always open, first of all, to complimenting people, because you never know, like, when somebody needs it, how it can change their mood, their disposition. Of course, it has to be heartfelt, like not just some willy-nilly compliments here and there. But I think when I see someone that's beautiful, I'll tell them, male or female. If I see something that I appreciate, I'm like, wow, this is awesome, this is great. And so I appreciate people that not only give you a compliment, but they tell you why they give you a compliment. And so when she did that to me that day, and she stopped me to tell me that she liked it, but then she told me why she liked it and how it reminded her of her experience and what she learned growing up, through the Quran and, her religion, I'll just say. Then it made me think about, okay, think about that more often. Think about all the little things that we can say to people that encourage them. I mean, I've had some hurt in my life from little things that people said to me that discouraged me, that sometimes at some point I just had to cut it off. Just like, no, I'm not letting that affect me anymore. No, yeah, she said it. Yeah, it hurt. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna say her name, but she's not on here. But so there was a situation when right before I got married, there was an older lady at my church that had a really sly remark to me, and I was young. I mean, this was over 21 years ago, and ever since the time she said that to me, if I saw her, it uprooted in me. And I had to get to a place where I'm like, what in the world's wrong with you? Why are you still living something that happened 21 years ago, Nicole? Let it go, So that is kind of the thing I'm saying. And if I can hold on to those negative experiences, even though, okay, I let it go. Then I know that I should be able to hold on to the positive things. And I can think about all the positive things that reinforce us later on in life, because they spring up in our memory banks at the time when we really need them. And speaking of that, I think Andrea is on here. Yes, Andrea is on here. I talk about her in the book in one chapter about an experience that I think she reinforces with her sons. And so I think that too took me to a place where I could remember her situation of encouraging her boys and how she did that as a child. And I thought about how years later it's going to be beneficial to them. So I think those things in the past, little things, you got to remember them, you got to notice them. Even in a situation where I'm riding in the car and I'm looking at bumper stickers, right? And one day a bumper sticker said, smile, somebody's watching you, right? So to me, it's just a regular bumper sticker, but to me, it made me remember, yep, I should smile. People are watching you. And so those little things that happen in life, even though they seem like little things, they're not really there as a little insignificant thing. It's really something huge. It's really something to sustain us and help us remember what we need to get by. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, good. You're good. That's good. So the chapter on experience actually was kind of like one of the humorous chapters for me, because it kind of like reminded me of some of our huddle conversations we have at the post, and you kind of like be like, Nicole, don't say that again to nobody else. Don't repeat it out loud again.
Yeah.
So when you actually talking about, that experience, basically, when you actually were sitting on the pot and you actually ran to go make sure that you could only see through the curtains from one side.
Yes.
And, the experience that you had for your interaction with what you called Buddha's first cousin.
Yeah.
How did that experience lead to some sort of happiness for you?
So it led to happiness for me because I realized that out of everything that I go through, that I'm learning to find little joys in everything. And so the experience part is more so about not being afraid to experience things, because you don't know what can make you better. You don't know what can heal you. You don't know what can make you happy if you don't experience it. So you have to just be open. It was more so about me being open, me saying, okay, I heard this is going to help me. I heard it's an all natural remedy. I heard, it's going to work. I did a little research on it. I'm having issues. Hey, why not? I mean, I'm the type of person, I'll experience something, once in life. And if I like it, okay, twice, maybe 3 times. But if I don't, then at least I know, like, that ain't for me, because I've tried it, So to me, it's like, yeah, be open to experiencing new things so that you can find what can bring you joy. And so I get a little bit graphic with that, but hey, I think it was needed.
It was essential you. So I think so a quote from the chapter, keep an eye on your tolerance tank. In the book, you actually state, my tolerance tank gets tapped into every single day of my life. So like my gas tank, I ensure that it's never empty, so that even if I spaz out for a moment, I am able to recover quickly. I found this analogy quite powerful and relatable. Please elaborate on how knowing oneself plays a critical role on one's happiness in order to bounce back from stressful or emotionally draining situations.
So I think about it like this. If you're in a relationship with somebody, you know that person well enough to know what pisses them off. If you want to get a rise out of them, what you can say, what you can do, if you can talk about their mama, if you can talk about whatever that makes them react, right? And so if you are that intent with somebody else, then you need to be that intent with yourself. You need to know what you can handle, and you need to know what people, what things will trigger you, so you can either avoid it, or you can say, as you're walking into that situation, you know what, I'm not even gonna be fazed. Yeah, she steams my kettle. Yeah, I can smack him upside his face, but when I see them today, I'm not going there. I'm not gonna let anybody else affect my mood today. So that's kind of where that whole chapter came from, thinking about all the things that I know can pull on me. And so I'm like, okay, everybody need to get to know themselves in that intimate of fashion, so that they can say, okay, I'm gonna avoid this. I'm not gonna speak to such and such. I am gonna speak to such and such. And even in the times when you feel like, oh, it's people you can't deal with, like, I've learned to kill them with kindness anyway. So it doesn't bother me. I mean, I can speak, not speak, whatever. But at the same time, I would not like somebody, is what I should say. And they would never know. Because I mean, some people, your spirit just don't connect with their spirit. And that's just how it is. Maybe it's the heaven in you, the hell in them, or the opposite. I don't know. But there are things, people, and places that can work you. And so you're gonna have to learn to handle yourself like you handle a mate or a loved one or a parent who might or may not be overbearing. I was trying to see if I can get a rise out of my mom with the overbearing comment.
I was gonna say amen until you said overbearing.
Okay, but anyway, so that's where that whole chapter comes about, because I know how to control myself in situations now, and I learned how to put that in here so that people can help to find those things in themselves.
Okay. So this chapter here actually was the most powerful chapter in the book for me.
Okay.
I actually read it like 3 times just to take it all in. It was actually, like I said, the most powerful chapter in the book for me. We talk about in 2009, how you came face to face with your biggest fear,
Mm-hmm.
death, how you stared death down.
Mm-hmm.
You reflected on being by your dad's bedside when he died, which really is something that I too can relate to, similar experience that I guess you and I talked about. What I thought was like, actually kind of like really shocked me was when you talked about that morning where Dale took you by the hand and softly said, "Let's take control." That was just, to me, a tearjerker situation that, you know, for that moment, I kind of like felt like I was there in that moment with you. That was very touching. Also, as you went, you know, to explain, you know, as you walked through the chemo treatment center, you can almost see death and despair in the eyes of many patients.
Mm-hmm.
However, as you looked in the mirror, you saw grace, mercy, and a girl determined to come back from this and even be better for it.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is, the last quote that I have there, when faced with difficulties in life, lean on your relief and release.
Mm-hmm.
Through all of that, how did you mentally get to that place?
The crazy thing about all of that is I think I was kind of already in that place. And so I was in a place where I was really happy in life. I had just decided that, you know what, I'm going to have a baby. That's where I was. This is when all of this happened. And I had just got to the point where I was like, okay, it's just me and Dale, and we are, you know, we have a good life and we're doing well. I should have a baby, you know, now, because now I'm ready. Not, you know, because it just happened or whatever. So I could be prepared for it. So I was just kind of like, okay, it's time for that. And then as I was preparing for that, things started happening. And it felt like things started happening like with his job, and then things started happening with me physically. And then it was just kind of like, is something trying to tell me like, I don't need to do this, you know? And so we kind of like, we always kind of look into, okay, I don't think all these things are happening by coincidence. And so, so I was in a good place. And then I felt like, oh, okay, we got through all of those little situations. So maybe, you know, let me just go ahead and do it. And so right after we decided to do that is when I found the lump in my breast. And I was like, at that time, I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm still kind of young. I was like in my 30s now. And I was like, so maybe, you know, I can get through this and I'll be fine. And so I was in a good place. And then I was just kind of like, I'm not going to let this stop me from being in a good place. And as I went through it more and more, I could only be reminded of other situations, like people that I saw around me that was sick, and my dad that had passed. And it was just kind of like everything kind of came down on me at once, but I remembered a place that I was previously. And I was determined that I was never going to like be shifted from that place permanently. Like, you're going to be shifted in life. You're going to be tested. You're going to be tried, you know, that type of thing. But I decided, even after once I finally accepted it, and I talk about accepting things in your life in there too, I decided that, okay, I'm going to accept this, and I'm going to not let it consume me. And not only that, I'm going to get back to where I was. Now, I may not get back to where I was like before everything happened to me, because I have like the battle scars, and I have, you know, memories, and I have concerns and issues and problems and surgeries and cuts and bruises. But I knew I was still going to be better for it, because I think it was more so a belief in me that I was going to get through it, I was going to be fine, and I was going to live to tell the story, so that anybody else experiencing cancer, illness, sickness, or whatever will be able to glean some hope from that, glean some encouragement from that, or get whatever they need. Because I knew going into it, it wasn't about me. So I think staring it down was all about, you gonna come up into some brick walls. And this is how I got through it. Let me show you what I did. See if you can pattern anything in your life around that to get through it too. I'm sorry, that was like the long version, but that's basically where I was when all of that went down.
That was good. Good information. So, moving to the chapter, Give of Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This quote here that there was a line in this chapter that you actually state, I love you with everything that is me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna let that marinate just for 1 second, just so you take that in, because for me, for someone to actually say that, that has to come from a place deep down within inside,
Mm-hmm.
for you to tell someone that I love you with everything that is me.
Mm-hmm.
So in this chapter, Give of Yourself, how does giving of yourself contribute to your inner happiness?
So I think I try to espouse to, I guess, like the belief of no matter what is happening, no matter if it's a project from work or if it's something that I'm doing on in the side life experience, business, whatever, I'm always going to give it my all, right? And I give of myself not because I want to impress anybody, but I give of myself because I know that anything that's going to edify me, bring me up, make me better, will also impact my circle, because I'm that type of person. My family, my friends, anybody that I can bring along, like as a manager at work, if I'm giving of myself, I'm giving them everything that I have. I'm training them on everything that I know, because I feel like it's not just about me. And my thing is, I want everybody to win. And so I'm kind of like pulling everybody along with me as much as possible in the nutshell. Now, I do talk about some other stuff in here, but I don't want to give all of that away. I want them to read it if they haven't already. In that section.
Okay. In the chapter, Go to a Place of Worship.
Mm-hmm.
You list 5 reasons to fellowship, and I'll let those that haven't read the book read it to get those 5 reasons to fellowship. But how does religion play into your happiness, or what role does religion play in your happiness?
So I would say religion is 100%, and I'm not a religious person at all. But I think the underlying principles of my beliefs, and even though I didn't want this to be a book about that, it really does play into a lot of the interactions that, a lot of the things that I do, unknowingly sometimes. And so it's really a bigger part of my life than I realized, because I'm guided by a moral compass in everything that I do and everything that I say. And even to the point where I will say something and then I'm like, ooh, maybe I should have said that. For real, that wasn't all that nice, but at the same time, I'm like, I can do things and I'm convicted, because I feel like, ooh, that's stepping away from who you are, Nicole. Don't let anybody make you step away from who you are, your core. And so it really plays a bigger role than I want to admit. Even though I say all the time, I'm not a religious person, because I'm not, but I do unequivocally love God. And I do know that I have and I am everything because of him.
So the chapter on Don't Take It Personal.
Mm-hmm.
So in this chapter, I'm gonna kind of like walk through this one here a little bit, because I thought this one was so you in this whole chapter. I could just picture all of this taking place. So, you know, you start off talking about it's the day of your 20th wedding anniversary. And how you had like picked out the perfect outfit for the day. And in your mind, you know, you was assisting Dale by, you know, placing his phone and keys near the door. But however, Dale didn't quite see it the same way that you did.
Exactly. And that happens a lot, believe it or not.
He actually was kind of upset that you moved your stuff around.
Oh, okay.
And he let you know that he was upset about it.
Most definitely.
So he actually kind of like yelled at you for, you know, moving his things around. And in the book, you know, you talk about there were 4 thoughts that crossed your mind.
Yeah.
But the one that you actually went with as far as expressing your reaction back to Dale, I'm going to actually read that one.
Okay.
You said, lastly, the ghetto Southeast girl in me broke free when I ended up yelling back at him. No, the hell you didn't holler at me like I'm your child. You better check yourself. Engulfed and full of rage, I high-stepped like that of a marching band towards my purse. So that is the part that I can see you high-stepping with your purse headed towards us, getting your purse to leave out of the house. But even in all that process that you mad and you upset about things were not going according to how I guess you had planned for it to go in your mind. You have to also talk about how you remembered something that your Aunt Brenda said.
Yeah.
That she advised you when you got married. And her words to you were, Nikki, never go to bed angry and never let your husband leave out to face this crazy world without a kiss. And as this morning goes on, Dale actually calls you, and you kind of like hesitate on whether or not you actually want to answer the phone or not, because you're still in your feelings about how things kind of played out. And then when you decide to answer the phone, he asks you a couple questions. But what actually stood out to me, and actually kind of like shook me to my core, is when he asked you, did you want to pray? And you said no. You didn't want to pray.
I did not.
However,
no, thank you.
He prayed anyway.
But
what actually got me is that as I was reading this, I kind of thought like, okay, so I know this prayer is going to be something about God, make sure you brought me my wife, we've been married for 20 years, we're talking about 20th year anniversary, you know, bring us closer together, strengthen our marriage, you know, around that is what I thought his prayer was going to be about.
You would think.
But the reason why I said it shook me to my core is that his prayer was a lot about something completely different that was so deep, and it was broader than just that moment, what you guys were dealing with at that moment. So this is what you said he prayed about. He petitioned God for peace in the hearts of those committing acts of senseless violence. He prayed for young people across the nation from every walk of life, and continued by asking for him to fulfill his duty in his role by helping to facilitate an end to poverty, which he named the systemic root cause of stress for the population he serves. So my question to you is, at that moment, how did you actually feel, being that you were once in your feelings about what all had transpired, and then the man that you were married to, that you love, he calls you to pray, and the prayer is not about you guys at all.
None of the stuff I'm mad about.
Bigger than the two of you. How did that impact you?
So of course, initially I was upset. And let me just say this, okay. The people that you love, that are closest to you, can piss you off the most, right? And so my thing with him is, he is very strategic about getting me to a level of festivity, right? He knows how to get me to whatever. And so I think the initial thing of him calling to say, you know, to see if I was mad, he already knew I was mad by the way I left. But then to pray it was almost kind of like to spite me, but at the same time, and which is why this section is called Don't Take It Personal. At the same time, he was not really connected enough with me to know that that prayer was not what I needed to hear at that moment, right? Because of all the things he had going on in his mind, all the things for his job that were pulling on him, and all the phone calls and the text messages from, you know, from city officials that he have to report to, that he was getting. And so he wasn't in tune with me at that moment to know that that's not what I needed to hear. And the more he started to pray about everything except what I was mad about, I realized that. And so that's when I said, okay, I'm not gonna take this personal, because that whole blow up was really not about me, you know? And so that's when I was able to take a step back and just say, okay, I'm gonna agree with him in this prayer. And I'm gonna say amen at the end, because he's right. We do want all those things in the world to be better. And at that moment, that's all he could see. He couldn't see past that. And I had been given the wisdom from God to know that he didn't know, he didn't realize what was going on. But it was on me to, I want to say, kind of be the bigger person, and accept that that is where he was at that moment. And so I just needed to tread lightly. And that's kind of what I talk about after that whole section in the book about don't take things personal. Because you never really know what people are going through, you know. And I used to, in my younger days, take things a little more personal, and I would internalize them. I wouldn't blow up on people or anything like that, but then I learned how to give people some slack, because people are always going through things, you know, and so we can't be judgmental all the time, even if we want to. Like I say in there, I'm kind of like an undercover mean girl a little bit, but but we can't really be judgmental with people, because number one, we're all human, and number two, we're all going through things. We're all in a place where we don't necessarily think straight or think it through, or don't give the care and attention to the people around us, whether it's you know, coworkers or loved ones or whatever, that we should in the moments that, you know, that we find ourselves in, just because of external factors.
Okay. So I'm actually going to pause right here
Okay.
and open it up for anyone else that actually have any questions, comments that you actually want to bring to Nicole in reference to Happiness Lives Inside You. We'll pause here and open it up to the rest of everyone that's on the call to ask a question or comments.
Well, this is Veronica.
Hey.
Hi. And first of all, I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
I thought the book, I mean, not just saying it, this was the most natural, relatable book I have ever read. I'm not completely finished it, but
Okay.
And it was so you. And when I say relatable, I mean that everything I read, it was always, I could see it. And I could feel it. And I'm just laughing, you know, because I'm like, wow, you know, it's not like, oh, a PhD just wrote this book and, you know, and we reading all this, you know, hard,
Right.
all this. You were just you know. And some things I would say, only Nicole, that's all she but I mean, and when I say relatable and really inspiring in different areas, you not only related as far as cancer, You not only, you know, I'm gonna tell you what blew my mind. When you got to talking about the headphones, and you turned that around and made that such a positive on your way to work with the boy. Listening to the
on the train, huh?
I said, now, that's when I said, only Nicole. I laughed. I said, oh my gosh, she took this and put it into another whole positive world, you know. I mean, and it made me think, you know, the thoughts. And, you know, then the same thing, you know, your beautiful spirit when you was like, oh yeah, and once I got to work and I spoke to everybody, even the girls that I know ain't gonna speak back, but I still spoke, you know. It was such a blessing to just be reading because it was so natural and I could just picture, you know, so.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I just hope that we only, one more thing, I just hope that we not only having this one session.
Oh, stop. Okay. We'll talk offline about that.
But I want to say,
Jane,
I want to say,
I heard you.
That you've done a fantastic job, and the way you just pulled out some of the different quotes and statements, and had Nicole to address them was deep. Was very was very, very good, and I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you.
Yay.
Well, I like to say, I haven't gotten through all of it yet, but
hey, Angie.
Hey, you see your goddaughter try to peep her head through. But anyway, the part that really was a blessing to me was, you know, we kind of talk about triggers. It made me like really focus on paying attention to my triggers. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, like if a person triggers you, or if you know, because family members, you know how that is, right?
Yeah.
So just paying attention. And then sometimes it's not even that. It's just sometimes it's just maybe certain things people say, how they say it, body, like it could be little things to trigger you and you don't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like you said, sometimes you don't even express it verbally, but you feel it on the inside when that person comes around, or you relive the situation, like something they said to you, and that's a trigger every time you see them. Yeah. So it blessed me. It made me really start paying attention to my triggers, because I never thought about it like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, I just never thought about it like that. So that was a blessing. And then, you know, I told you a long time ago, you blessed me just watching you going through that whole process with chemo, you know what I mean, and cancer and everything. Like, I wouldn't have known you had that or you were going through that if I didn't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because you was always the same. You was always so positive. And I was just like, I mean, of course, you know, we all, you know, we have our behind closed doors, you know, times and things like that, struggles or whatever. Yeah. But from what I saw, you know what I mean, to see you just go through that is so positive. And we used to go to the seniors line dance, remember? Yes. We used to crash it with our moms. Yes. And you could come in there with your drink that you have to drink before you went to chemo and everything. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like amazing, just watching her go through this process. And
I still slapped on a wig, and I still did my fingernails, and nobody knew I was bald, and I drew on some eyebrows.
Yes. And I was just like so encouraged by that. But
Thank you so much. I see Harold has his hand up. Hi, Harold.
Hey, Nicole. Hey, James.
Hey, how are you?
I'm not going to talk too long, but I definitely want to say that I'm so very proud of you.
Thank you.
You and I only worked together for a matter of months, but you have left a profound effect on me. And I know that's just an example of the effect that you've had on other people. Relative to how you communicate, you're a natural. And I'm sure you've heard the expression, everybody has a book in them. So, you know, and I feel like with all the histories that Black people carry around as we walk every single day, I'm sure a lot of us have several books in us, not just one. Considering how natural a communicator you are, I'm sure there's more coming. So what are you thinking about as far as another book, making this a part of a series, or moving forward and just going in a completely different direction. Is that a part of your thought process right now, or are you just kind of fully engrossed in this project?
Yeah, so that's like not the first, second, or third time that I've heard that about, oh, you should write another one. But I don't know if I'm there yet. Now, I do have some ideas, but I don't think I'm ready. I really don't. And it took me a long time to get to this point. And when I say a long time, I mean 2 years. It took me 2 years to get to this point. And so, yeah, I just don't think I'm ready. But I will never, ever say never, you know? So I definitely would enjoy the process because I did. And like I said at the beginning, if anybody is interested in, you know, writing a book, self-publishing, whatever, I'm here as an asset to you to help, because it's not just about me, it's about encouraging other people, sharing your story, leaving a legacy. Mm-hmm. So thanks so much, Harold.
Of course.
Anybody else?
Nicole,
yes,
I just want to say that your book, as I told you, has taken me through all emotions. And the part that stands out really the most for me was when you talked about going through the cancer and going in the bathroom with your husband and him cutting your hair. Mm-hmm. That was just such an intimate moment and such a joy to know that your husband was standing with you 100% and he was going to walk through that with you and you were not afraid. You faced it with with no fear, at least on the forefront. I'm not sure what you were going through on the inside. And then when you talked about your father, because I was very close to my dad as well. And I love my dad. And I often say, I don't know what's harder is having someone pass away, just like immediately, no signs, no warning, or watching them suffer.
Yeah.
And so for you to watch your dad go through that, and I've done that with my mother-in-law, it's kind of, you don't know which one is easier, but the pain is still the same. But your book, I was so inspired by your book, and I went through all emotions through it, and just reading some of the things that you said about your loved ones, and even you and Shanna going to the Black church, taking Shanna to the Black church and all of that. It was really, I felt like I was right there with you all. And I just want to say that I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful to know you. And I want you to write another book. I want you to write another one because I read it in I think it was a day I read that book. I couldn't put it, I was supposed to be working and I was reading your book.
So let me tell you, Lana, I so appreciate you for that. And you were the very first person that called me to give feedback. So I wanted to tell you that too. So I appreciate that. You were the first call I got, and I was like, oh, okay. She's going to tell me about the book. Oh my God, what is she going to say? And so awesome. I appreciate you because I said, okay, so Lana was good. We'll see how they go as they come in. But I really appreciate you. I appreciate everything you told me then when we were talking, privately, and I appreciate everything you're saying now. I just appreciate you. I thank you for being a listening ear for me.
I appreciate you too, sweetie.
Well, this Renee, and I wanted to say something. I think out of my favorite was the beginning when you asked the question for everyone to think back to their happiness. Mm-hmm. That one special happiness. And I sat there and said, wow, I had a lot of good ones, but what is that one? And it took me back all the way probably to in my early 20s. And I was like, wow, what an inspiration. And to know that feeling of what I felt then, I'm like, I'm going to try to hold on to that even more and try to remember that so I can have more happiness like that. At that deep emotion. Yeah. So that was mine from you. And I was like, wow, what a question. Because how many of us really think about we can always think about the bad things. Right. But we sometimes forget about what about that good time we really had.
And
Yeah.
that really did it for me. I loved the book so much. I read the whole thing. I've already read it. I can't wait for the next one. So thank you, Nicole.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
No, you're so welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. This is
Renee,
another
my Aunt
Renee.
Renee. Hi.
Hi. I just want to quickly say, I've just been writing stuff down so much. I'm so glad you wrote this book. I mean, and I'm happy to say that I've been doing a lot of the things that you wrote about.
Okay.
But there were several reminders. I have so many notes, Nicole. I have about 12 pages. I kid you not. The book is highlighted. I mean, I could go on and on about the book, but you and I have to talk offline about it.
Okay, we will.
It was motivating, encouraging. It was funny. Some of the parts I could totally hear Dale saying some of the things that you said about him.
Yeah.
And as James said, he felt that he was there in the story.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that in all of the stories. Like, we were really there. But I've already started with my 3 attributes, that what I love about myself, and finding a way to reinforce it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to read the book again.
Okay.
Okay, but I just recommend that I read it once, then I read it, skimmed through it again, but I'm going to read it again because, like I said, I have notes. And I just thought it was really good. I'm just really proud of you, Nicole. We have to talk about this book.
Okay, we will.
Really good. This was really good. And I recommend it to everyone. You got to read it. You got to read it. But anyway, I'm excited about it.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you too.
Hi, Nicole. This is Grandma.
Hey, Grandma.
I'm calling. I'm right here talking to you now because I can't get the words out to say what I want to say. I've always been proud of you, and I've always been right in your corner. From the day one when you got sick, I was there for every doctor's appointment. I had to stand by you. I had to watch you. And I know I love you so much. I want you to know that anything that you decide to do, you got to make a go of it. So stay focused and keep the mind you have. I'm so proud that you're my granddaughter, and I love you so much.
I love you too.
Yet, but I'm going to finish it.
Okay. And that's one thing, Grandma, I want to say that I can't even remember a time when you did not tell me you was proud of me. Like, I don't care what I was doing, whether I was just like playing baseball on the street with the kids or whatever. I mean, anything. So that's one thing that you have always reinforced in me throughout my life, that you're always proud of me, for everything that I've done. So I appreciate you for that. I love you.
And that beautiful voice you have, and people say, she's got a gorgeous voice. What a beautiful voice. I say, well, I'm a grandmother. Where do you think she got it from? No, I can't sing. God bless you.
Thank you. That was sweet.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Is that Shanna Banana?
Yeah, I had to close myself off because I'm about to leave and I got people all over the place. But and I was trying to get myself together because I'm emotional.
Oh.
But first I want to say,
Shanna, are you there?
Lost you.
I'm here.
Okay. You okay?
Yep, I want to say thank you to your mother.
Oh.
For having such an amazing woman.
Shanna. Love you, girl.
You know how much you mean to me. You're my Joe Claire.
Yes, ma'am.
You are my Joe Claire. You got me through the hardest part of my life, losing my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just don't know what I would ever done without you. I think about it all the time, how blessed I am to have you in my life.
Same here.
And baby, you shine. You just keep on going. You shine. You need to go ahead and get them blogs going. Go ahead, James. Get her started. Get her little YouTubes going. Because you have this gift, Nicole. And this gift that just speaks to everybody.
Oh, wow.
And I know that I am truly blessed to know you and have you in my life.
Definitely. Definitely.
And I love you, baby.
Love you too, babe.
You go. You go, girl.
Plus, I miss having you on my team.
Shoot, I miss being on your team. How about that? No, you're simply amazing. You know, this woman sang in my mother's funeral. And she kept a smile on my face the whole time. You really are God's gift.
Oh, thank you.
Love you.
All right, babe. Love you. I know you get on the road, so safe travels. Okay, that was emotional. We okay, right? Ain't makeup?
Yes,
No,
you're good.
I'm joking. Well, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. I really appreciate your time, your energy, your effort. Everybody that was on in the beginning, everybody that was on in the middle, everybody that came on in the end. I really appreciate and I love all of you. And I just can't thank you enough for supporting me and everything, all the feedback, all the love, all the encouragement, all the words publicly and privately that everybody has given me as I go forward in yet another adventure. And I remember the day that that I did a press release and my mom sent it out to a bunch of people. And one of the first lines on there said, my daughter, Nikki, has done yet something else, or, you know, she's always into something. Here's something else she's doing, you know, so, and I've kind of been like that in my life, but this is one of the things I want to say that I'm especially proud of because I feel like it's something where I am totally open and transparent, and I'm hoping that is for the benefit of everyone, for everyone else, not necessarily just like to share all my business, kind of like what Dale was saying, what he has said about reading some stuff, but it's not about that. It's more so about making sure that other people know that you are not the only one. Everybody has issues, everybody has problems, but you can still, out of everything that you experience, be happy, enjoy life, and learn to love yourself even more.
Well, it's truly a blessing. It's therapy. Even this meeting was therapy.
Good.
Good.
Anybody else? Look, before I kick y'all off on my Zoom? No.
We can wait 4 years. We're not rushing you. You hear me?
Well, I do have an idea, but I don't know if I'm ready to tackle it yet.
Well, that's okay. We waiting patiently.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I have to sell, what, 40 more books to reach my goal? But I'm getting there because, as a matter of fact, as of yesterday, it was 130 something. So I need 40 more books to get to my goal. So if you know of anybody, let me know. And then it'll be moving over to a an ebook that you can download after I get another 40. Yeah.
Nicole, make that 39.
39. Okay, 39.
I've been so busy, but I need to get my book, so make that 39.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Lynette.
Congratulations, I love you.
Love you too, and I miss you. Miss seeing you dancing with us.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that, how lazy I've gotten.
The quarantine, I get it.
Yeah. But I'm so proud of you. I'm just so proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Love y'all.
Well, Nicole,
go ahead.
Nicole, I just want to say that I appreciate and feel honored that you actually asked me to moderate your book. The book was a pleasure to read. I actually read it twice myself. You did an excellent job. You know how we are, so I don't need even to go into any of that conversation. But, you know, I truly appreciate you for everything that you've done for me. You are like my sister here in the DC area. Definitely going to miss you when I move back to Atlanta. So looking forward, you know, you coming down to visit there. But
yeah.
Again, thank you for asking me to moderate your book discussion. It was an honor and a pleasure. And once again, you did a good job. I love you, appreciate you. And of course, we'll be talking again tomorrow.
And you better.
And let me just say, before we close out that, of course, I'm very proud too. But when I think back about Nicole, even as a baby and a child, she was always a happy person, a happy, singing. I mean, just full of life, full of joy. So, and when she talked about writing a book, I was like, well, what you gonna write about? And so I don't know why I was kind of surprised when she told me that it was going to be on happiness, but because it's been a part of her whole life. So I just want to say I'm proud too.
Oh, thank you, Mommy.
God bless you, and thank you all for supporting and participating.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And James, you had to host it. You was the one who gave me the idea to do it. So I was like, yep, you.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. What better person, right?
Yeah. Well, thank y'all again. Love y'all.
Okay,
We love you more.
13. I done held y'all 13 minutes over. So y'all have a blessed night. Have time for dinner.
Bye-bye.
Because it's getting late.
No carbs. No carbs. Love you. Bye.
That was good.